Hey everybody, off day for the Giants today. Some big news yesterday. Marco Luciano played first base. That's not actually the biggest news of the day, but that was for a bit. It was maybe the most interesting thing that happened during this three-game Tigers series until the post-game news on Wednesday. I'll get to the Marco thing in a second because I do think that's actually really interesting. But Camilo Doval, he is the closer again. Bob Melvin announced it after Wednesday's game. I know a lot of people are like, the timing's a little bit weird on this. They just lost. They just got swept. No save opportunities, but they made this decision before that. They made the decision a few days ago. And it just became clear on Wednesday because Ryan Walker was out there. They were down and he was pitching the eighth inning. So clear that they're using their closer in a different way, and he is no longer the closer. They kind of messed around with this a little bit in April, and Walker started to struggle with his command. And I think what has really changed since then is that Camilo is pitching as well as anyone in baseball. Maybe he might not even be the best guy in the bullpen right now because Randy Rodriguez has been so good, but you look at what he's done, 1.16 ERA, has not given up a run since April 7th. Over that stretch, 19 appearances, 18 scoreless innings, only 4 hits allowed, 5 walks. He's not hitting people, he's not throwing wild pitches. He's doing a better job of controlling the running game when he has to, but he's not even letting anyone on base. So he is completely dominant right now, and look, this was his job. He lost it last year with some struggles and sent him to AAA. He learned a lot from that. I think he handled it really well. He came in this spring and everyone was really impressed with the maturity he was showing and what he was doing behind the scenes, the work he was putting in to get better at the little things in the game. And that has carried over. And we know that when he's right, he is about as good as any reliever in baseball when he is completely himself. And over the last month plus, he has looked like that guy. So this makes their bullpen better overall, I think, and that is why they made this move. I mean, it is someone who now gives you if he continues this, gives you a real lockdown guy in the ninth inning. Even though Walker, I think, has been better the last couple weeks, the velocity has ticked up. He's still kind of, doing the torture thing a little bit. And Camilo is just not letting anyone on base. So I think even Walker, his comments to the reporters who were in Detroit, that he understood it. Camilo Doval has been so good the last 6 weeks that it makes a little bit of sense. And really, a guy who's been doing this since he came up, with the exception of last year when he had some real issues. And Walker was so good down the second in the second half last year down the stretch that he goes into the offseason as the closer. But I think you could tell even in spring training, Bob Melvin said a couple times. I mean, these things change sometimes, and he did say this again on Wednesday. He's like, these things change. It's a fluid situation. You never know where this goes. But right now, they feel best with Camilo in the ninth, and if Ryan Walker can get fully back to where he was last year and the year before that, him and Randy Rodriguez getting them out of jams in the sixth, the seventh, that's really really dangerous. So they feel like this has been the best bullpen in baseball, and this is a way to make it even better. What has not been the best is first base. It is ongoing. This has been really the whole year. This goes back to last year as well. If you go back to the start of the second half last year, Lamont Wade Jr. has the fourth lowest batting average in baseball, 191 over that stretch. It's over 100 games. The lowest is Patrick Bailey, who's the catcher, but Patrick's a Gold Glove catcher, and there's no other options there. So he will continue to be out there as often as he can catch, and they'll hope that he turns it around. But first base, I think you are starting to see them. I've heard over the last week they've kind of run out of patience there, and that they're getting closer to maybe making a real move there as opposed to just kind of the subtle changes they've had at times here. You saw Casey Schmidt get a start against a right-hander. Gerard Encarnacion should rejoin them. He's rehabbing right now with Sacramento. He should be with them in a few days. Sounds like maybe the start of that Padres series, and he'll rejoin them for a pretty tough homestand against the Padres and Braves. I think he's going to get a lot of time there. And then Marco Luciano, he got a start at first base. It's something they didn't really want to do coming into the season. They wanted to let him go out there and learn left field and master that. It's been hit and miss there. There's been some days where he looks like a natural. There's been other days where Giants people who watch him really feel like they're watching an infielder who is learning how to play left field in AAA. But this adds another option potentially at first base. And I think the other thing it does is add someone who could be a bench option for him. It might be a little bit flexible. One thing that really stood out to me, we talked about this on Giants Talk at length, was just how often Mike Yastrzemski is facing lefties late in games because they don't feel like Luis Matos is a better option. When they get Encarnacion back, that'll add a little bit. Casey Schmidt will maybe be more flexible, but you're seeing kind of the back end of the lineup and the bench. It's been a real weakness, and they need some of these guys to be added back into the mix. And I think they need to add some new guys to the mix. So Marco hasn't been tearing it up in AAA, 742 OPS for him in a very hitter friendly week. So it's not like he has forced the issue, but it does seem like they're setting it up where if he does catch fire here and start striking out a little bit less, showing he has shown more pull power this year. If that continues, then maybe another option for him at first base, and really maybe just an option for him in general on the bench. I mean, someone who can come in and face a lefty late in games or just give him a little bit more of a threat than what they've had. So it seems like as May comes to a close here, they are about ready um, to make a decision at first base and maybe go in a different direction there, unless Wade can really find something in the next few days if he gets some starts here. But they have made a decision at the end of games. It's an interesting one and one that I think you could see coming once Walker started to struggle. Back to where they were with Camilo Doval. Now they have to do the hard part for him lately, which is get him a lead.